Hey fam, happy Sunday. It's your girl Keisha, and I'm here with this week's All Tea All Shade Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 10, Episode 3 review. Want to let you guys know that this week I will be dropping my Basketball Wives Confessional Fashion Killer review video, as well as my Jackie Christie Exposed. Yes, I will have a date and time for you probably tomorrow or Tuesday, but it will be dropping this week. So get ready, because baby, I did my thing. I did my research. I got so much footage and tea and videos and pictures, and yeah, y'all just get ready. It's gonna be super, super good. But this is gonna be a lengthy review, so y'all already know the drill. Get your snacks ready. Put on your PJs, your socks, your house shoes, and all of that good shit. If you're at home, at the crib, watch me on your TV. And make sure you're watching me in 1080p or 4K. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're here to do. You know? Well, let's get into it, because I got a lot to say. Okay? This is Season 10, Episode 3 of Love and Marriage Huntsville. And it felt so good not to see Martell in this episode. Oh, that was a beautiful thing. Thank you, Jesus. But we pick up where we left off last week with Ken charging towards Marquez. We don't see the altercation, but we do hear scuffling, sneakers and shit sliding across the floor, and people trying to break them up. And we see Tisha and Marquez's son come down the steps to stop the altercation. And he tries to like grab his dad's arm, but Marquez is of course upset, and he like smacks over a lamp and storms out the front door and was like, y'all got me effed up, and slams the door, and it goes off. Like I said on last week's episode review, I feel like Ken and Tisha were 1000% in the wrong. I don't think that Marquez really did anything of discontent. I think that they came in on 10 with their own narrative, with their own thoughts and feelings, with no room to consider other people's feelings, opinions, or anything. Can't stand them. Kimmy and Maurice are at their crib. They're outside by the fire, and she tells him that Jaylen, her son, and Monster are hesitant about this family business. I guess it must be her restaurant that's gonna be the family business. I don't think that it should be the family business. If it is the restaurant, I feel like that should be Kimmy's and Kimmy's only. But that's just how I feel. But the boys are concerned because they feel like Maurice acts like a dictator. And I can very much see that. I can very well see that. And she also goes on to tell him that Jaylen said that he didn't look at him like a father figure, but looked more so to Marsau for that. And he seemed shocked by this information and confused by it. And I don't know if it was necessarily a look of hurt or disappointment. It was given more so like, Marsau, he look at Marsau like a father figure and not me. Like, more so like, jealousy more so than anything. And that was a cause of concern for me. The whole conversation was a cause of concern to me, but we'll get more into that in a second. So then Nell is at the crib with Chris, and she says how she really hasn't talked to any of the girls for real, because none of them really effed with her. Mel was her real, true, only friend on that show, and we see how she kind of turned against Mel last season. So she says that she feels like Destiny misses her because they had grown close. She had counseled her, and they had talked about a lot of things. And she was shocked when Destiny said last season that she may have to reevaluate their friendship, when Nell said that she was going to invite Sunny to her event. And she was like, I guess that really hurt Nell's feelings because, they had built a relationship with each other. And she really thought that they were cool. And she was like, if she feel like she need to reevaluate her friendship with me, then maybe I need to reevaluate mine with her, And I get where Nell is coming from, but this is what happens when you befriend a little young chick. You know what I'm saying? That mind ain't all the way mature yet. She's still doing tit for tat mess. Ain't nobody got time for that. No, ain't nobody got time for that at all. Especially not an older woman. I just, girl, you can have that. Evaluate all you want, okay? Child, get a paper and a pen, a pencil, do math, do X, Y equals Z, G, Roman numeral, decimal, contract, minus, add, divide, multiply. Girl, you can do whatever you want to do, child. Deuces. My stomach is growling. I am hungry. I can't wait to go barbecue. Anywho, so then Kimmy invites all the girls out because they haven't really been around each other, and she says that she wants to get to know Tisha and Nell better. Which once again further shows that Nell really didn't have any relationships with anybody for real on this show but Mel and somewhat Destiny. So it's Tisha, Nell, Kimmy, and Tisha. And Tisha tells them her version of what happened with Marquez, and they're all shocked that, it ended in a tussle. But it's just so funny to me, once again, when you see people tell their side of the story and it's totally different from actually what happened, because she totally made it seem like Marquez was just acting like a wild banshee with no home training, came in her house acting a fool, yelling and all types of stuff. Like, she totally switched up the narrative. And I want to know, now that the cast members have seen exactly what went on the first time he came over to the crib and the second time, like, how do they feel about it now? Do they still feel like Marquez is in the wrong, or do they feel like he was set up? Because I feel like he was set up. So Kimmy then tells them about the Jaylin and Maurice situation, and she even admits that Maurice was very hands off when it came to Jaylen. And that once again made me side-eye Kimmy, because you peep this, you've seen it with your own two eyes. You later on in the episode said that this is something that you even talked to Maurice about. It would make me feel some type of way if I'm in a relationship with a man, engaged to a man, married to a man who isn't putting any effort into building a relationship with my son. But on the other hand, you want me to be your son's second mama, Mother Teresa, his nanny, his maid, his mentor, his teacher, his nurse, his everything, but you not investing the same energy into my child? Once again, I feel like Kimmy is in a one-sided relationship. I don't know, child. I don't know what's going on over there in that lady head, but if anybody needs to be doing some reevaluation, I feel like it needs to be Kimmy, because what is this relationship that y'all got going on where he demands so much of you but gives you so little in return? And why did you marry him if you saw that he wasn't even investing the time into your son as a stepfather? You should love me and want to love my son just as much as you love me, because you're asking that of me. I'm literally over here raising your son for you. And we all in the household, and you want to be hands off when it come to mine? Is Jaylen's father even in his life? Does he have a father figure? It doesn't seem like he does. So you would think that, okay, you ain't like Ken and Marquez where he has a father, you know what I'm saying, that needs to be respected or whatever as his parent. If it's the situation where his father isn't around and you got an open door to jump in there and build a fatherly son relationship, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you do that? And Kimmy, why would you sit back and be with somebody that's not investing in your child? It's so, okay. Nell then brings up the Lance situation and about him having a baby and says that Lance didn't know his ex was pregnant and says that she didn't know either. But as she's saying this is one of the things that I've learned about, what's the word I'm looking for? When people speak through their body. So she was saying that she didn't know about the baby. She was like, no, I didn't know. But as she's saying it, she's nodding her head up and down. So she was like, no, I didn't know about it. That's your body actually relaying the truth. You could tell by the way she was answering the question that she wasn't being truthful. Nell knew about that damn baby. She knew about that baby. The way she even was responding was so like, I don't want to tell the truth because they gonna really get on me and I don't feel like going through that right about now, so I'm just gonna lie. That's what it was giving me. And how didn't Lance know that this girl was pregnant? They had been dealing with each other for over 5 years and she kept the pregnancy secret for 9 months. Something in the milk ain't clean. I don't know how I feel about that. So Tisha was like, yeah, when I saw that on social media, I was side-eyeing you because not Nell having him and Destiny dating and he had a baby on the way the whole time. Nell says, I didn't know. Once again. And Tisha was like, but I was like, you were for him and Destiny dating. And Nell says, at first I was. And Tisha says, what? When you found out about the baby, you changed your mind? And Nell says it was before the baby that she started to feel like, maybe this shouldn't work. And me, myself, if I was in her position, I wouldn't have been rooting for them to like each other no way, because if things go wrong, I still got to be around this chick. We're filming a television show with each other. I'm going to get caught in the middle somehow, some way, get blamed for something, knowing something and all of this, that, and the third. Like, I wouldn't even co-sign that because look at where we're at right now. And I don't personally feel like if she did know about the baby that she would have been in the wrong for not saying anything to Destiny, because that's not her place to tell her son's business. Her son is a grown 30-some-year-old man. I would have been on some, you need to tell her. You need to tell her. Okay? I would have been on that type of time. You know, and if I saw that it was getting serious, then I probably would have been like, hey, yo, I got to holler at you. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully my son would have been mature enough and respectful enough to convey that information. But I wouldn't have wanted to jump into that because I wouldn't have wanted to be in the middle of that, you know, because anything can go down and be said. It's just too much. It's just too much. It's too messy. Too many people involved. It's just too much. So Nell in her confessional says that, you know, she see that Tisha got a lot of questions for her. So let me ask her some questions since you want to be Columbo. So Nell was like, how do y'all feel about what Marcel said about y'all husbands in that interview? And so Tisha flips it and was like, how you feel about it? Well, I would have been like, I ain't got nothing to feel about it. He ain't talk about my husband. He talked about y'all. So what you asked me how I feel, girl? I feel nothing, you know? So Kimmy was like, you know, if he was going to make an effort to make that believable, that was the worst depiction. Not that. And I'm looking at Kimmy like, you think pussy got a face? 9 times out of 10, when niggas cheat on you, the bitch be whack. The bitch be lame. You be looking like, he cheated on me. Do he think I look like, excuse you? 9 times out of 10, the bitch don't be no baddie. It's very rare where a nigga cheat on you with a bitch that's of your caliber. So all of that, not that. You do know that Maurice was a fat nigga when you met him. Like, you act like he was straight out here pulling straight up 10s. Like, he was with Kiowa, big wide back linebacker wide receiver for the 49ers. Like, what? Like, huh? And Kimmy, we saw the throwback pictures of you. Like, you look regular. You look a lot better now with your enhancements and things. Don't get me wrong, but like, be for real. I just thought that was so delusional of her to say that. Like, okay, girl. So Tisha says, me and my husband did a live and we discussed how we felt about it. So if you want to know how I feel, go watch it. With an attitude. And I'm like, how you got an attitude when you was the one sitting over here questioning Nell about her son, something that she has no control over, and tooting up your face and doing all of this? Like, Tisha, this is why don't nobody like you, because you stupid. Ugh. So then in her confessional, Tisha gonna say, I don't even know if Nell is being transparent. There are some things going on in the streets about her that she don't speak on. I'm not calling her out on it. You literally just did. You started that conversation. So I'm so confused as to why you're offended now that she's putting your ass in the hot seat. Oh, okay. Fucking bird. So then Nell makes it clear that she ain't got no issues with nobody. And if she did, y'all will know. And so Tisha was like, yeah, because I was telling Kimmy, I don't know about the Fletchers. Because when Chris made that statement about the NDA, Nell was like, I can't control everything that comes out of my husband's mouth. Like, that's him. Like, what they got to do with us. And one thing that I will say about Nell, we all have seen is she don't mince words. She not no punk ass old lady where she gonna say how she feel to whomever she feels some type of way towards, period. And so Kimmy was like, well, Maurice felt the way because he never spoke on or joked about y'all infidelity issues. Okay, well, your husband can feel some type of way and your husband needs to address that with my husband because A, I wasn't there. B, I ain't got nothing to do with what he said. And C, y'all need to be finding out, maybe talking to my husband to find out what's the real true tea. Okay? How about that? Y'all got more smoke for me than you do for my husband, or better yet, y'all husbands. Do your due diligence while you all up in my business trying to investigate. How about you investigate to see if these NDAs are real? They so stupid to me. Kimmy and Tisha are the dumbest bitches I think I've ever seen in my life. I just cannot with them. I just simply cannot. They two dodo birds. Like, because y'all want to dish it, but y'all can't take it. And that's what irks me about them. They always want to play victim like somebody started with them. But then y'all want to be the main ones that say a bunch of slick shit out y'all mouth. Maurice meets with Jaylen. And Jaylen says that he's considering taking a job in Colorado, which is great. Maurice asks how he feels about the family business. And Jaylen wonders, will he be delegating? Because, he run things like a dictatorship, telling people, okay, you do this, you do that, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. And Jaylen says that when he was in the house with them, that he would tell him to get up and like go do something, go wash the dishes, go do this, go do that. And Marsau would be sitting right there and he would never tell him to get up and do something. Which would have made me feel some type of way too, because what the fuck you think this is, Cinderella? Like, I got to be the one cooking and cleaning and sweeping and singing with the mice. Like, excuse you, but your son get to lay up in a luxury and they ain't got to do nothing. Oh, hell no. Hell to the no. And then the fact, once again, that Kimmy is around for this and ain't saying shit is what the fuck is going on? Why are you even allowing this to go on? So Maurice says in his confessional, you parent each child differently. Did it work? Right now it seemed like it worked. How, Sway, when this man telling you he feels like you run a dictatorship and he's telling you that you treated him differently than you did your son, when he's made it clear that he doesn't look at you like a father figure, he looks at your brother more so like a father figure, but you think that everything is all good? I don't understand the shit that be coming out this nigga mouth. I think that he just talks to hear himself talk because he's stupid. Like, you can't tell me this nigga didn't get that lawyer degree from ICDC college. Like, girl, you got that shit from Georgetown University online. Like, girl, get out of here, because that nigga's stupid. So, Maurice says, did you feel a difference in love? Like that I loved Monster more? And Jaylen says, of course. He's your son. I'm not your actual son. And Maurice told him, really? Like, bruh, of course you love your son, your biological son, more than you would love me. Like, let's be real. Like, that was such a dumb question to me. Like, ugh. Maurice then says, he brings up the fact that Jaylen looks at Marsau more like a father figure and how it hurt him. And he asks, where did he fail? Didn't you just hear what this little boy just told you? Like, what? So Jaylen was like, you were more of a mentor to me. When I worked with Marsau, I gravitated more towards him for fatherly advice. I didn't want to get attached in case things didn't work out. Now, that's a whole nother aspect of this, is that, you know, it seems like his father wasn't really around, or maybe was never around. Then you got this man that come into your life. He kind of being funny acting with you, you know, so let me shield myself by not even really putting forth the effort to really try to build a relationship with him, because I don't want to get hurt. I don't know if this is going to work out between him and my mom. You know what I'm saying? Maybe there was a situation in the past where Kimmy had dated somebody and he did get close and then they broke up, and you know how that go. Man don't come around no more, you know? So maybe if he would have invested the time to really get to know Jaylen and talk to him, he would have found these things out and really put forth more of an effort to assure him that I'm here to stay. I'm not going nowhere. You know what I'm like? I hate that I say, you know what I'm saying, so much. I'm really trying to stop doing it. But, yeah, like Maurice just, he's an enigma because like, he make me feel like I'm dumb. Like, I be like, am I slow when I listen to the stuff that he be saying? Like, huh? Sway? Okay. So that scene ends and we see Ken, aka Shannon Sharp, link up with his boy Will and Fletcher at the barbershop. And he tells them about what happened with Marquez when he came over to the house and just walked in the house while he wasn't there. And Will was like, oh, where was you at? He was like, I was on the road when all of this happened. Did y'all peep the way his partner Will looked when he said that he wasn't there when any of this happened? Will had a look on his face like, oh, okay, yeah, Trisha lying. This a bunch of bullshit, Trisha lying. Like, he already had came up in his mind like, this nigga falling for the bullshit again. Okay, no, I'm gonna sit up here and listen to him because this is my friend. That's exactly what it was giving. So Will says, you know, what are you gonna do when he pops back up? Because he's gonna pop back up like he's their father. Ken tells him, I'm trying to cater to him. And Fletch says, why? You not marrying him? And Ken says, so we can move on to the next step. It's not her hindering it. It's him. Most people move on first and then get a divorce. And Fletcher jumped in and was like, but it don't generally take 8 years. And Will said, did one of these. Like, he smirked because, yeah, nigga, you stupid. Like, you trying to blame everything on Marquez and not hold this demon seed you over there laying up with every night accountable for her bullshit. So he tells us, we have no issues outside of Marquez. I'm telling y'all, like, we straight. Outside of Marquez, everything is fine. When he ain't around, we straight. We lifting weights. We drinking our protein shakes. You know what I'm saying? We doing smoothies. We juicing. You know, we fasting. You know, we getting a good pump in. We doing a little cardio. We outside hiking. You know, we fixing cars. We lifting cars. Like, he is trying so hard to convince everybody that their relationship is A-okay. And it's like, you the only one that is in the dark. You the only one that ain't seeing the grass is green, child. You think that it's brown. So Will says, you think this whole thing is a challenge to you. That's why you don't leave. And Fletcher nodding his head in agreement. And Ken was like, I haven't been trying to solve it. Y'all don't understand. I didn't have to do it because he wasn't around. And Will was like, I'm not talking about just him. I'm talking about everything. Will like, nigga, stop focusing on Marquez and focus on yo bitch too, because she's a part of the problem. And you trying to negate that. And no, nigga, you need to really look at this whole situation. So Ken get defensive like a battered wife. And says, everybody go through it. Everybody got problems. And Will was like, sometimes you got to put the puzzle back in the box and get a new puzzle. Basically, like, you need to money in the bank, cash that bitch in and get you something better because she ain't it. And Ken Thompson, outside of him, we don't have a problem. Ken, we just saw you last season air her ass out. Y'all got problems, sir. Y'all have plenty of problems. Plenty. And Will was like, when I lay it all out, it's not really even. So at this point, it kind of becomes your fault, which is true tea, because you see what's going on and you keep on turning a blind eye and trying to make it be something that it's not. So you can't even blame Marquez no more at this point. You can't blame Tisha no more at this point because you're a willing participant in this madness. Nobody's doing anything to you but you because you're allowing this. You're participating in this. So Will says sometimes people don't know how to see themselves out of an uncomfortable situation. You're just stuck. Ken talks, I'm with Tisha because I love her. It's just him. Oh, it's like talking to that one girlfriend that's in a toxic, bad relationship. And she always coming to you crying about this nigga, talking about he did this, he did that, he did this. And you just sitting there on the phone like, girl, I have tried with you 50 million times. I give you advice. I pray with you, child. I try to listen to you. And it goes in one ear and out the other because you gonna make it be what you want it to be, child. Okay? You just gonna make it be whatever. You ain't trying to hear what nobody got to say. You just want to be stuck on stupid. That's exactly what Ken is giving, and Will is the friend that's looking at him like, oh, po baby, my friend's so dumb. And it's so shocking to see this grown big man be this damn stupid when it comes to this chick. Like, this, your partner literally is telling you on camera, she ain't it, bruh. She is the problem. And you just don't want to see it or hear it. And so Fletcher says to Will, what would you do? And Will said, Tisha would have been a thing of the past. And Kid just look at her. Sit there. Like, no, please, don't take her away. I love her. God bless that man. God bless that man. God bless that man, because he is a joke. He is a joke. He looked like a straight simp, a straight lame. Ugh. Okay, girl. You like it, I love it. Like, it's literally gonna have to get to the point where we're gonna be like, look, dog, I ain't talking about this shit with you no more. You like it, I love it. You want to be over there with Groot Jr. You be over there with Groot Jr., child. Like, leave me out of it, okay? I don't want to hear that shit no more. Like, it's literally gonna get to that point where they gonna have to start treating him like that, because they gonna get sick of hearing about this shit. So Kimmy, Maurice, Tisha, and Marsau have dinner. And Marsau brings up Jaylen asking him for help on this contract. And Maurice was like, he came to you? And he was like, yeah, I mean, he kind of look at me different, And Maurice, once again, it came from a place for me of jealousy that Jaylen went to him. Not a place of his feelings being hurt or him caring about the situation. It more seemed like, to me, it came from a place of competition and jealousy. Like, that's the only reason why he even engaging in the topic, is because he don't like the fact that Marsau is one-upping him. That's what it's giving me. Y'all let me know if y'all feel the same way or what y'all see. So Maurice was like, yeah, because he thinks of you differently, because he looks at you like a dad. And he was like, no, not a dad, more like a, father figure. And Maurice was like, the reason why he did treat Jaylen differently than Monster is because he says the way we grew up, the older kid was the next in line. So they was the one that had to clean up. They were the one that had to do this, do that. Okay, just because you grew up that way don't mean that was the right way. Especially not in this case, because they're not biological brothers. So if you're treating one differently from the other one, it's really going to stand out, And to be honest with you, I personally think that the reason why he had Jaylen doing more than Monster is because Monster is his golden child. My baby ain't got to lift no finger. Hell no. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same thing with Kimmy. That's why he had Kimmy over there shucking and jiving and cooking and cleaning and taking him there and taking him to practice and doing this and doing that. And what was Maurice doing? Sitting back, getting to enjoy his time and his leisure. He put both of their asses to work. He put Kimmy and her son to work to take care of his son. Fight me on it. So Kimmy then jumps in and agrees that he did treat Jaylen differently. And for me, to be honest with you, you ain't shit for that. You ain't shit for that. Because how are you just comfortably admitting that in terms of, I talked to him about it. Okay, you talked to him about it, but you didn't see no difference and you allowed your son to be treated differently? Kimmy then says, I think that people gravitate towards people that they feel like them. And I think that he felt like Marsau actually liked him. He could talk to him. He didn't seem like he was always getting in trouble or fussed at. Because if this man was constantly telling him to do this, telling him to do that, and the only other time that he engaged with him is to get on him about something that he did wrong or when he was in trouble, yeah, I'm most definitely going to feel like you don't like me. You don't fuck with me. You don't care about me. You only deal with me off the strength of my mama. And the fact that you're his mother and you're openly saying that your son basically gravitated towards Marsau because he felt like he was liked. And your husband, however, he didn't feel like even liked him. And you laying up with a nigga that your son, and your son feel like this man don't like him. I'm surprised Jaylen ain't said how he feel about her ass, because you know that there's some resentment there. It got to be some resentment there. Has to be resentment there. That had to have hurt him, especially to see how his mama was breaking her back to take care of Monster and to take care of Maurice and to make sure they're happy, but you're not making sure that your son is happy. My feelings just get set to the side, I guess. Marsau then says to Maurice, it's hard enough as it is to talk to you sometimes. I grew up with the golden child, talking about Maurice, and Jaylen sees Monster as the golden child 2.0, so I understand it. And Maurice then calls Marsau a liar and all of this stuff, talking about he sound like Fletcher, which I didn't understand where that came from. But Maurice don't want to ever hear anything negative about himself. Never. Because he's never going to take accountability. It's always something else. He always going to pivot and say that it's this, it's not that, it's never him. And I was actually quite happy to see somebody hold his feet to the flames. Very happy about it. I'm happy that Jaylen is a grown enough man now to say how he feel and stand on it and not mince his words, because he needs to hear these things. And he also needs to be very clear with his mother about how he feels as well, because he was done wrong, point blank, and the period. And I know that it's difficult for moms, because I've been in that position in the past where I dated somebody that my child did not like. But the difference with me and Kimmy is I was in that relationship from the age when Maurice was like 9 up until he was 13. I was in that relationship. And I knew that, and I saw that my ex was not investing time into my son, wasn't really trying to build a relationship with him, a fatherly figure relationship. I saw my son had told me, I don't like him. I don't like him. And it's a tough feeling to be a mom and to love somebody and want a relationship to work. But then on the other hand, you could see where your child is coming from. And especially if you're only child, or whether or not you're only child or not, you'll have kids that just don't want to see their mama dating. And just don't want to like nobody, period. Don't even want to give the guy a chance. So you have to then come from a parent's perspective of, is this something that we can move past and that my son will then accept this person? Or is it a situation where this is valid? I don't like him. He don't really care for me. He's not really trying to invest time with me and all of this type of stuff. So it is a delicate balance as a mom, and it's a lot of guilt and confusion to be placed in that situation. But eventually I had to see it for what it was, and that he ain't no good for me and he ain't no good for my child. And those 5 years that I invested into that relationship that took away from my relationship with my son, I had to repent for and make up for. There was a lot of apologies on my end to my son for choosing my relationship over his feelings. So I had a lot of making up to do. And so what I did as a mother after that was devote 100% of myself to my child, to make up for the time that was lost, for not validating his feelings and looking over his feelings, investing more in this man than I did my child, which hurt him, hurt me. So from 13 up until the day he graduated, I didn't date. I talked to somebody here and there or whatever, but it was literally me focusing on my son and letting him know I fucked up in the past, but you ain't got to worry about me fucking up with you again, because you're the number one priority in my life. And forgiveness came. Our relationship grew closer than ever. He trusts me with every and anything, and vice versa. But it taught me to listen to my gut. Listen to your gut. And don't ever let anybody come into your life that is more focused on you and just solely on you and leave your child to the wayside. It ain't gonna never work. So I know Jaylen is a grown man now at this point, but obviously there's still a lot of hurt there, resentment there, and his feelings need to be acknowledged and validated. And Kimmy needs to do her due diligence to acknowledge her son in the way that he feels and really look into herself to figure out why it is that she negated his feelings for this relationship. And really put forth the time and the energy to apologize for how he was treated and how he felt. I'm going to give this week's episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville an A, because there was a lot of important conversations that came up in this episode that we don't normally see on other reality shows. So I will give them that. I really honestly will. Yeah. But y'all let me know what y'all thought about this week's episode. Let's talk about it down below in the comment section. You guys, please make sure to thumbs up this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on your post notifications so you know my videos drop. I love you, T Squad, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.